and he says to me, Yeshua is here. He wants to talk to you. And he said to me, Alba, I just want to let you know this is very important, is that you are going to die on this trip. And he says, but I want you to know you will be reincarnated into a different aspect of yourself. And he touched me on the forehead, which felt like an electrical shock. And my eyes did not close for over 10 minutes, but I left my body. And my soul was taken to a ship, and I saw the commander of the ship was somebody who looked just like me. She was me. And you will notice it in your own life when you feel you are very 3D Earth, and you feel, it's a feeling, you are very otherworldly. People will disappear. People are disappearing from your life. I know for sure that some of these children that are being born now are completely different. Yeah. So I think they're coming in with that. And that may be what's happening too, is that all of these children, I call them plug and play children because they just come with everything they need.
Hi, this is Akanksha. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul podcast and a talk show. On this show, we talk about deep spiritual and mystical experiences of people which we normally shy away talking about. We are more than our physical body. We are spiritual beings on a human journey. And we discuss how a soul exists on multiple dimensions. We discuss science, technology, and spirituality point of views and perspectives on this show. Our purpose is to open our minds to limitless possibilities and our hearts to love and shine the light within bright. We have with us today Alba Weinman from the US, who is a quantum healing hypnosis therapist, that is QHHT therapist, introspective therapist, transpersonal therapist, and past life therapist. A very warm welcome, Alba, on Multidimensional Soul talk show and podcast. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Hi, everyone. So, although you can watch this episode or listen to this episode separately, I highly recommend that you watch part one of our conversation, where Alba talked about her journey into hypnotherapy and spirituality. She actually shared raw, unfiltered truths that she witnessed during hypnotherapy sessions. And she talked about healing the inner child, protecting your energy from dark entities and energies, how past lives impact us, and how that trauma can be healed during this lifetime, how to restore soul memories, and what are the predictions of Earth's future from Galactic Family. So there is a whole lot that we covered in part one. Enjoy part one and part two of our conversations with top hypnotherapist Alba Weinman. Yeah. There are talks, because we are ascending, there are talks about the split of Earth. Yep. And because we have free will, not everyone has chosen to ascend and go into the higher vibration. Some have chosen to continue lifetimes on Earth. So, what is your understanding from these sessions that you have received? That are we going to have a split of 3D and 5D Earth? What is going to happen exactly? And especially 2025 to 2032 is a crucial period for this, and a lot of chaos is kind of coming to surface across the world.
Yeah. Well, I think it's already happening. It's been happening. It's not like, I don't think it's going to be a flash. You're here, you're there. Things are already happening, and you will notice it in your own life when you feel you are very 3D Earth, and you feel, it's a feeling, you are very otherworldly. People will disappear. People are disappearing from your life. Like, where is so and so? I haven't heard from them in a long time. And they just disappear from your life. They're not even there. And we're splitting, and you'll notice that you will be in scenarios that are very different than they were before, or you're in places that are very different than they were before. We create our reality, and I think that's part of it too, that with this ascension you are creating your world in this 5D reality too. The people who are living in the trivia of everyday existence, oh, how terrible life is, oh, how horrible my neighbor is, you know, they're living in 3D world. That's a different world. When you're focusing on the news, when you're focusing on the disasters and everything else, you're living in a different world than other people. Other people are actually living in a already ascended state. So I think the ascension is really a state of being, not so much physical. It really is about changing your state of being. I think it's going to be very gradual, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, things are different. I could be totally wrong, but my world has been changing a lot in the last few years, and I've noticed that. I've noticed that my group gets smaller and smaller and smaller of people around me, because it's almost like they're just disappearing. And I think people are also disappearing. They are disappearing. That's another phenomenon.
I have observed that, and I do agree about the vibrational state of being. But there is this question about whether we're going to ascend with our physical bodies. So, do you have any guidance with regards to that? You talked about Syrian beings guiding.
Oh, that's just one. That's just one. I mean, there's Pleiadians. There's the Arcturians, the Lyrans. I mean, there's so many of them. I just thought about that one because that one was talking about the Earth disasters. We don't really know what's physical or not. When you ask the question, are we going to go with our physical bodies? We're in this program called Earth, in which we have come in this program and we think that we are physical and everything is physical around us. But truly, is it? Or is it the program that we came into? Because when I'm dreaming or when I'm in a session, I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference that I'm really there or not. You see what I mean? Because our mind constructs the physical. So that's a really hard question to answer because we don't really know. I mean, we can physically walk through walls because there's so much space between all of our atoms that, if you know how to walk through a wall, you can. So is it physical or not? That's the question.
Okay.
It's strange. It's a strange question, but I think I'm physical because I've been told that I'm physical. But we can levitate. We can do things that we think is impossible because we've been told it's impossible. But there are people who levitate, and you go, how do they do it? If your body is so heavy, how can you levitate your body? Well, in your culture, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where that person is just levitating above their seat, and you go, well, how does that happen if that person is physical? I don't know, and I'm not going to say I have any idea because surprise me. I'll tell the universe, surprise me when I get there, and I'll see if it's physical or not physical. I don't know. I think we take into the spirit world our physical body in our mind construct. So what would be different as we ascend? Because if you channel somebody, you could actually ask them, what are you wearing? And they'll say, oh, I'm wearing this right now. They do have a physical body on the other side, the body that they create. It's a long answer to something that a question I can't really answer.
Multi-layered.
It's multi-layered, yeah.
I agree.
I may sound like a complete crazy, but that's what I'm just thinking out loud.
Oh, no. Because there has been a talk about our DNA changes. Our DNA is going to change from carbon-based to crystalline-based DNA and from 2-strand to 12-strand DNA. And there are upgrades happening across the world. So have you seen or carried any such upgrades or activations during these sessions?
A long time ago, I was more into that, but like I said when we first started, I'm going more into the traumas of the soul right now. So I'm not focusing on that stuff. I know for sure that some of these children that are being born now are completely different.
Yeah.
So I think they're coming in with that. And that may be what's happening too, is that all of these children, I call them plug and play children because they just come with everything they need. That's how the world is changing, is with these children are bringing in this knowledge. And as you're around these children, I think they're going to be assisting in changing you too.
True. Yeah. The new children coming are evolved souls, essentially working for the ascension.
Whether I have felt completely different now than I did, let's say, 5 years ago. I feel like I'm a totally different person. I think differently, I talk differently, I act differently. I just feel totally different. And I think many people are feeling the same way. It's a gradual change. It's gradual.
Can you talk about the most profound experience, one or two experiences that you have had?
Yeah, I had a very profound experience in 2020, which I think changed my life. It was I was in Peru. I was on a tour. We were doing a workshop there and a tour. Before the workshop, I was called to a meeting with this man who is he's a medium and he channels. And we were going to do the workshop together. And he says to me, Yeshua is here. He wants to talk to you. When he said that, it's different than when I was having a session, because this was like, it was like being called to the principal's office, in school. It was like, oh my God, why has he chosen to speak to me now? And he said to me, Alba, I just want to let you know this is very important, is that you are going to die on this trip. And when Jesus tells you you're going to die on a trip, it's pretty profound. And I it felt like a slap in my face. And I said, well, I guess I'm ready. That's, what else can I say? And he says, but I want you to know you will be reincarnated into a different aspect of yourself, which, like, whew, okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. And he went on to talk about other things, but it was a very serious conversation, and I felt jolted by that. We had the workshop, and then we started the tour of the place of Cusco. And we happened to come to this one site where, as soon as the bus started approaching the site, I started feeling very sick to my stomach. And I felt that I was going to vomit. And it was not a good feeling. And I didn't want to go to this archaeological site. And the closer I got, the worse I got. Finally, I was just trying to vomit air. There was nothing was coming out, but it was horrible. And they called my friend over, and immediately he went into Jesus mode. And he touched me on the forehead, which felt like an electrical shock. And my eyes did not close for over 10 minutes, but I left my body. And I don't know what happened as I left my body, but when I came back, I was sitting on a rock with many people around me, all of the women who were on the top. And I kept saying to them, I give you my blessings. I give you my blessings. I give you my blessings, which was very strange for me to say. I just kept saying, I give you my blessings. What I found, and after that day, I was a totally different person. Totally different. I didn't have the same tastes in food and colors and anything. I was a totally different person. I was much nicer person than I was. It's like the old businesswoman left and this new person came in. As soon as I came home, I lived in Miami at that time. I needed to move. I couldn't stand being in Miami anymore. I needed to be around trees. It was the most bizarre thing. And I wanted to find out what had happened that day. So I had a session on myself. And it seems that when I was there, I was taken to a ship. And my soul was taken to a ship. And I saw the commander of the ship was somebody who looked just like me. She was me, but she was the commander. And she said to me, "You're done. You're done. You're finished." And I said, "What do you mean I'm done? I've got a lot of work to do. I can't. I have to go back. You know, I'm pleading for my life." She goes, "No, you're done. You need to go rest now." And I said, "But what's going to happen to my work and everything?" And she says, "Well, there's going to be another part of you that comes in." And suddenly I saw this huge light walk into the room, and the heart was just a beaming heart light. And it must have been like 40 feet tall. It was huge. And she says, "You will be replaced by that down there." But I kept pleading. I said, "But I'm not done." And she says, "You're done." And then in the ship, I actually saw the same women who were down at the rock with me. So that's when I came back down and I recognized them. So I was giving them my blessings when I came in. It was like that part of me, who was the old part of me, had died. And this new version is a much more evolved soul, or much loving soul, than the one who was put out to pasture. He's resting now. So I have all the memories and everything, but it's a different aspect of myself, which is really a strange concept to think about. So that has been the most profound thing that has happened to me, besides my son being arrested. But this was kind of like a nice upgrade. I think that's a big
that's very
big enough story.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. And
Yeah.
I understand that there are a few individuals across the world who are meant to have their higher self integrated in
Mhm.
this body. So
Yeah. And you know, when I've been told that has already happened to me, that when I'm talking to people, that is that higher version of myself. And what I have found out in the not at the beginning when I was doing my automatic writing, but for the last, I would say, 15 years or so, that has been the higher version of myself doing the automatic writing. Because when I start my writings, it's always the same exact phrase starts the writing. It always says, it's very flowery writing, and it says, "Greetings, child of the universe. We are one." And I would ask year after year, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Why do you say, "Greetings, child of the universe. We are one"? And I never got the answer until one day I got pages and pages of what that meant. And what was said is, it went on forever, but the gist of it is, we are one and the same when you were, or before you were born, while you were in your mother's womb. We are the same when you were growing up and you were a child. We are one. We are you when you were an adolescent, when you were a young woman, when you were a mother, we are you when you are old age, when you are sick, when you are ready to die. We are you with all of that. It's like this me who is writing has already experienced everything. So when she gives me advice, it's because she knows every bit of me. So I don't get advice like worldly advice. I get more advice about myself. And it's almost like, "You're going to be okay." it's always like, yeah, you could ask a lot of questions, but don't worry about it. It's going to be okay in a little bit. Because what other thing would you give? What other advice would you give yourself? Because I have free will, and if you tell me too much, that's interfering with my free will. So even my higher self will not give me more than I need to, except live your life. So
Wow. When we connect,
I don't know what you would do. I don't know how you would say to yourself, but in my case, I'm not going to give myself too much advice. Just, stay on the path, and you're going to be fine.
True. When you connect with the higher beings, and this is something that we were discussing earlier, that we may get guided by our higher self or highest self. We may get guided by spirit guides, angels, or let's say Arcturian Council or Pleiadians.
Yeah.
Or the source directly.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you discern between these? How do you know who is guiding you at this point?
I don't know who's guiding me, and I really don't care, because I follow my gut, my heart. It's within the solar plexus in your heart. You feel it. And I think there's so many that guide you, including your ancestors, in your case, your son. It doesn't matter. It's always the way it feels. Does it feel loving? Does it feel that you're being guided? And some are stronger than others. Some will guide you, and you don't do it, and you always get in trouble when you don't do it. It's like, oh, I should have done that. I felt I should have done that. And they're very kind to you, but the most important, it's not who is guiding you, because I don't think that matters at all. It's how you feel while you're being guided. When you feel that things are just opening up for you, and you feel almost like you're gliding through life without any rocks in your way. When you feel like that, it feels like you're really connected. You're really learning the lessons that they want you to learn. And I think all of us are pretty hard-headed when it comes to getting direction. We don't want people interfering in our life and telling us what to do, but they will very nicely guide you over and over again until you learn your lesson. Some people hear the messages, some people know. I have been in situations where I've heard them guiding me. I've actually heard a voice in my mind. Should I tell you about that story? It's kind of funny.
Yeah, please.
Okay. In my early times when I was still learning, I was leaving the house, and I heard in my voiceless voice say, pick up that fork and take it with you. There was a plastic fork on my kitchen counter. And I'm like, no, why would I take a fork and put it in my purse? That's dumb. And so I continue to walk out, and I keep hearing, put the fork in your purse. And I'm fighting. I'm going, why? That sounds so stupid. Why would I put a fork in my purse? Put the fork in your purse. It was like I was being like, just do what I tell you. And finally I said, okay, I'll put the fork in my purse. I don't want to, but I'm doing it anyway. And I happened to be going out and about, and I got hungry for lunch, and I stopped to get some takeout. And I get to my car, and I didn't pick up a fork for my food. And I started laughing, and I said, oh, look, I just happened to have a fork in my purse. And it's almost like you could hear a chorus of laughter, when they realize, oh, she got it now. So I've had certain situations like that where they tell you specifically, do something. And when you don't do it, you realize, I should have listened. I should have listened. If I would have just listened to that voice the moment it told me, do something, I would have been out of danger, or I would have been in a better situation. So they are always guiding you. But if you're fighting them, if you're fighting against it and say, oh no, that's just the ego, once you start to really listen and go along with the guidance, it works great. It works great. And you will feel like a bad feeling when you're not doing the right thing. If they tell you turn left and you turn right, you're going to get in your gut, I should have gone left. I should have gone left. And then all of a sudden you hit a brick wall, you can't go any further. You go, oh, I should have gone left. So it's a loving guidance that it's making life easier for you. But you have to listen.
Yeah, this is true. What has been the most memorable experience of any of your clients? Anything bizarre or anything very different that has happened?
There are so many of them. The beautiful things now are when people have a breakthrough from trauma. I think to me is really important. I deal with a lot, unfortunately, of sexual abuse. A lot of that. It is rampant, unfortunately, from all over the world, all over, because I do sessions all over. And when you get to a point where you empower that person to take back that power, that's amazing. I've said this in another interview, but recently there was a woman, I'd say last year, where she was in college at the university and she was studying to be a singer. She loved to sing. And one night something bad happened. She ended up in the hospital. She woke up in the hospital and she didn't know what had happened. I think she had been drugged and she didn't know. She was just totally a mess when she woke up. And she was never able to sing again. Her career ended that day. So she ended up doing something else with her life, but she was never able to sing again. So in that session, we found out exactly what happened, because even though you're asleep, your soul is awake. It knows what's going on. And we found out exactly what happened. She was able to deal with it. And after the session, or at the end of the session, I asked her to sing. She sung the Ave Maria, a beautiful song, and she was able to get her voice back. So that's the type of thing that to me is worth it, when you're able to give somebody back their life after having experienced things. And some people experience things when they were very young, so they were never given a chance, but it's never too late to get your power back.
Yeah, true. So powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And life changing.
It's very profound. So when you think about that, you are really releasing all of that darkness that has taken over, because you are taking on the darkness of those people who abused you.
At times, the trauma is so deep that it kind of gets stored in the memory of your body parts.
Yep, exactly.
So when you do these sessions, the therapy
Mhm.
sessions, what happens? Do you move the energy through the body, or how does it work?
No, I don't. I don't need to. There are times I have. Don't get me wrong. I have done that, but that's not what I focus on, because I focus more on them being able to move it out. I think it's really important to empower your clients to be able to do that themselves and to feel it and know what's doing and getting into the visualization of it. But yeah, I've had people where they have stored really bad energy. Especially, it happens a lot in the heart and the solar plexus. That's where they store a lot of the garbage that they've accumulated. And it's not always their stuff. They pick up other people. They're like vacuum cleaners. These people pick up everybody else's stuff and carry it with them. And of course, then they get sick. They don't know why they're sick. they're like the vacuum of the family. They go around and they try to take all of their problems, and after a while they're just loaded with everybody else's stuff, and it's not theirs. What are they going to do with it? Because we all came here to work on our stuff. We didn't come here to unload our stuff on other people. So in a session, that's what I focus on, is like, why are you carrying everybody's stuff? You know, like your children. Your children came here knowing full well that they had to learn this lesson too. Why are you taking on your children's stuff or your parents' stuff? So, you know, a lot of the people I deal with are those that want to save the world, and they feel that, you know, they have to be the ones saving them. And it's not like that. We all have to work on our issues, and we all have to learn our lessons. So you store all of that in your back and your knees and your feet and they're going around, they look like they're 90 years old and they're hurting. It's because they're carrying not only their stuff but everybody else's stuff. So yes, but we work it through the session because we realize, what is it that you're carrying? Oh yeah, well, I'm carrying my mother's especially from the womb. They'll start doing that from the womb. While you're in there, my mom needs my help, so I'm going to carry her load for her. That early.
Yeah. So when you work with them, does their higher self come and their spirit guides, angels, do they come?
Not unless I ask to, because I really, I just assume that they're being helped. I don't ask about it anymore because that's just how I feel. It's almost like this. I'll give you a scenario. It's almost like let's say I'm a doctor and I'm working with somebody, right? I'm just making a scenario. And all around the table that I'm doing surgery on are their grandparents, their great grandparents, their spirit guides, their angels. They're all just hanging around. And sometimes, you know, you could see that, you know, the grandmother may be, you know, caressing their head and making them feel good, you know? And so I just assume that they're all there. So sometimes I may ask, like, grandmother, what do you think about this? What do you think we should do about this? Because I just assume they're there working with me and helping her. So it's not like I ask them to come in and help. I just know that they are. Because just like you do, you know, a request before you do your work to bring in all that guidance, I know that they're there. So it's not like you have to like summon them. They're there already. And they're very happy that you're doing this work on the person. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. That's beautiful. If they're already there, then it's beautiful.
Yeah, and the angels too. I mean, there are times where I have really hard sessions where you have an entity that's very, very disruptive and it's angry, and they don't want to go. I've already called in my angels before the session, so they're like on duty. They're on duty, and so I just ask, okay, this is too much for me. Just you take care of this.
Wow. Yeah, you talked quite a bit about surgery, that doing it quickly. So I think you have your own methods that you have developed. So can you talk a little bit about your methods, whether it's the program on forgiveness or this surgery? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the surgery of the soul, that's not mine. That's Dr. Jose Luis Kabuli's method. That's past life therapy. To me, what I do differently, or just that I do, is just incorporating everything and doing it with such profound love for the person. I think the love is the ingredient that is the magic in that. When I'm in a session with a person, I am there 100% with them. I'm traveling with them. I'm feeling what they're feeling. I can't say I'm seeing, but I am. I'm seeing what they're seeing. And I'm guiding them with love, that they feel safe, that I'm actually channeling my mother, because my mother was so extremely kind to me that when I treat my clients, I'm talking as my mother would have talked to me when I was a child. So I'm there, and I think that ingredient is so important. And of course, my voice during the session carries a type of vibration because it speaks in a different cadence, a different rhythm. And I think that I can't duplicate that when I'm just talking to people, but it flows in a different cadence. So I think that vibration also is helping the client. I mean, I think that's the ingredient. Each person has their own unique style. And to me, it's love. It's absolutely authentic love for the person. While I'm with them, while they're there, we are one. We are traveling together as one. And things are coming through me that even though I have my techniques that I've learned and I use, but a word will change, which will take me into a different direction, which is profound. So it's my guidance system also that's helping, because I don't feel like I'm fully there either. I'm totally in trance.
Yeah. And can you talk about the forgiveness program that you have?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the name is the spiritual journey of forgiveness is a name. When you don't forgive somebody else, you eat yourself up alive. It's not about forgiving them. It's about you stopping the hurt. And we talked about when I went through the ordeal with my son, I had a really hard time forgiving them. I didn't get into all of the stuff that really made me angry, but I was not ready to forgive what they had done. They had destroyed our lives. But forgiveness is seeing things from a different perspective. They didn't know any better. They really thought it was true. So they based all their opinions on facts that weren't true, somebody's assumptions. And how can you not forgive somebody when they really thought it was true? It was their imagination. And what are you going to do about that? Are you going to live your whole life angry about something that you had no control over? We all make mistakes. And, when you see it, I kept saying to myself, once I had beaten the bags like crazy, it's like, they're going to be much better detectives after this, because they'll realize how they were fooled. They're going to be much better police officers after this, because they realize how embarrassing it was in the end when they found out that they were all wrong. You see what I mean? So I saw that and said, this was a learning experience for them too. So why would I hold this anger when this was a lesson for them too? And we were all in on it. Our souls chose to be in this party together. This was one crazy party. And we all agreed to be there for each other to learn. So once you realize and you see it from a different perspective, you don't have to actually say, I forgive you, because it's not necessary unless you do the Ho'oponopono, saying, but it's you stopping the hurt. It's you stop blaming somebody else and just say, okay, I'm done with it. I'm neutral about this. It happened. Stuff happens and we move on with our life. When I used to talk about that situation, I would be in tears. I would be so upset. But I have forgiven, because I see it as a neutral thing now. Stuff happens and life moves on and you learn from it. And I can help other people now because I've gone through such an ordeal. You see what I mean? So that's what forgiveness is to me. It's stopping that that blame, that, you took part in it. We all learned from it. And okay, lesson checked off. Let's move on.
Yeah, true. And it needs a big heart. And it needs a lot of inner work to do that. And as you rightly said, that you do it for yourself, not for them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's not about them.
Yeah,
They were the players in your play.
true.
And that was one of the scenes from your plays. And they were playing the role in that for you to play this out. So why continue your whole life bitter when it was just a scene in your play?
Sometime back, you talked about how you speak during your sessions. And you said there is a certain vibration, there's a certain cadence, a tone,
Yeah.
and an authentic and unique voice. And each of us, actually, when we express ourselves, it's always better if we have the highest expression. So, how did you train yourself to do this?
There is no training. There is none. I spent many years in my business doing recordings. I used to record for our company's phone system. I did train my voice to be more professional and sound good, to speak from I guess what do you call this, your diaphragm. I was doing recordings. I was doing hundreds of recordings for the people I worked with. Thank you for calling, company ABC, press 1, press 2. I did those recordings and I always wanted them to sound absolutely perfect. That was just my thing. I wanted, when someone called our company, to always sound the same. So I did train my voice by doing those recordings. It had nothing to do with hypnosis. But when I started doing the sessions, I switched to that type of voice that comes from the diaphragm, not from the nose. So that helped. I guess I was being guided to do that throughout my life. But I loved doing it. It was just fun. It was I wasn't getting paid extra for it. It was just something I really enjoyed doing. But when I get into that state, my voice does change. And I'll tell you something, I'm going to be very honest with you. I can't stand listening to it. Like, if I listen to my recordings, I cannot stand listening to that cadence and vibration. It's like, oh, it's not my normal speaking voice. It's a different way of speaking. So I can't make it happen unless I'm in that state. And yeah, and the words, sometimes it's just so bizarre. I don't even finish a sentence. Like, I'll be talking, I'll ask something, and I drop off the last word. And my conscious mind interferes and says, "Are you going to finish that sentence?" And it's like, "No, we're done." It's like, "Oh my God." Well, they understand me, and they do understand me, but I don't finish a sentence sometimes, and it drives me crazy. When I'm in a session and my conscious mind, like, "Alba, you didn't actually say the whole thing." They understood. It's weird. It's a really weird. It's very strange.
Actually, you are in a trance state that is
Yes.
very vibrationally high state.
Yes, but the conscious mind is still there. I mean, it's still there, and when I do something that confuses me or piques my interest, it jumps in. It jumps in. It's like, whoa, what was that? Or when I go to say something and it's my typical request for somebody to do something during a session, and another word is put in instead of where I was going. And I'll say, like, my conscious mind is like, whoa, we just took a detour. What is that all about? Where are we going? Where are we going with this? And all of a sudden we appear in the perfect place where I wasn't expecting. So yes, I'm in a trance, and my conscious mind does interfere every once in a while just to ask questions.
Very interesting. So how long do these sessions last? And what happens if the person is not going under? Because some people, they just don't get hypnotized, so to say.
Yeah. I think everybody can get hypnotized. It's what your expectations are of hypnosis that's important. Many people think that they're going to be asleep, that they're not going to remember anything. They're just going to wake up at the end and not remember. Hypnosis is not sleep. So I usually have a speech for them before, telling them that they're going to be wide awake during the session. They will be wide awake. They're going to hear the noises around them, and that we're just going to have a conversation, and they're there to tell me the first thing that pops into their mind. To not expect to see anything. Don't expect to see anything, because in hypnosis, what happens is that you receive blocks of information. You just receive information, and it's the same thing that you use for imagination. So when you are questioning something, you'll get an information block. From that information block, just talk about it. As you talk through it, it forms the thing. And this is something that I do all the time, not hypnosis. Imagine if you had something that was broken in your house, okay? And you need to fix it, but you don't have the piece to fix it. And you're going, what can I fix this with? And you start going through your mind and you start getting ideas. Well, I could fix it with this, and I could fix it with this, and I could fix, and all of a sudden you get all of these ideas, and you could see the piece being fixed with that, and you go, no, that doesn't work. Before you even have the piece in front of you, you're getting ideas of how to fix this thing. That's what happens in hypnosis. You just get blocks of ideas that just pop into your mind. And the most important thing is to talk about it. Just talk it through. And as you talk it through, the next thing comes up, and the next thing comes up, and the next thing comes up. But what happens is the people who think that hypnosis feels differently than that will say, well, I'm not hypnotized. I can open my eyes and walk around anytime, and I'm not hypnotized. Nothing is happening. I don't see anything. I'm very patient, and I will just keep boring them to death. I mean, you just have to just continue working with them, because you're fighting with the conscious mind. You're fighting with their expectations of what it should feel like rather than what it does feel like. It feels like you're making it all up. It always feels that way. It feels at the end you're going, I think I just made all that up. Yeah, well, why did you make that up? So it doesn't matter what it is that's coming through. It's your ability to just speak it. And in my case, I go a lot to childhood memories. You know, we just start with going to a sad memory in a past in this lifetime and just relive it, because people, when they start talking about anything that they've lived, they're already in a trance. You know, we've both been in a trance this whole time as you are putting together the pieces, the scenarios in your mind. You're there with me traveling. So it feels no different than this.
Wow. Okay.
So when someone says I can't be hypnotized, it's like, well, you know, then don't be. Just talk with me.
Yeah, that's comforting. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. I have a few questions that
Yes.
I ask all my guests towards the end. It's like a rapid fire. So can I ask you those questions?
Sure. If I can answer it, we'll see.
If you were to explain multidimensional soul as a concept to a lay person, how do you explain it?
I wouldn't. That's the concept you would not explain to someone who doesn't know anything, because you would confuse them. I mean, if you start talking about the fact that you're living simultaneous lives, and you cannot explain something to someone who's not ready to receive that information. And what I do is, in my case, I don't explain, I show. I tell them, go to my channel, go to my YouTube channel, watch some videos, And that will be their education little by little. They will receive that information through my clients. So I don't explain anything. I just tell them, go to my channel, and there's there's hundreds of videos there that will open you up to a different view of life.
What is holistic well-being according to you?
Holistic well-being?
Mm-hmm.
It's taking care of everything. Air that you breathe, make sure that you're in a place where you're breathing fresh air, that you have air purifiers, that you have everything, that you're drinking clean water, that you're eating good food. What you put in your temple is very, very important. And then as you get through your body, then how you're thinking, make sure that you are thinking positively and not fake positive. You really do have to live in gratitude and appreciation for life. And as you're living in gratitude and appreciation, it just energizes you. It makes you feel peaceful. And then, of course, your connection to your divine self, knowing that you are much bigger than what you are. So it's really from taking care of your temple all the way through your spiritual self. And it's simple. You don't have to go anywhere for it. You just have to be in a state of gratitude and allow.
What is the ultimate purpose of life?
Evolve and to love. It's to evolve. We're evolving our soul.
What is love?
Love, I would think, is expressing the divine, because love for one person is different than the other. I think it's expressing your divine self, treating others like you would like to be treated. It's expressing that divine aspect of yourself in everything.
What is self-love?
Self-love is what I just explained. Holistically living is really taking care, loving every cell of this temple that you call your body, is taking care of it and appreciating the body that you have, the mind that you have, appreciating everything. Appreciate your tongue, appreciate your ears. It's living in gratitude and appreciation for yourself, and not in an egotistical way. It's like, this is the vehicle you were given. Take care of it.
What is your parting message for our audience?
Be loving and live in gratitude. That's it.
Beautiful.
That's important. Mm-hmm.
And do you have any guidance for me and my channel?
Well, it seems that you're doing the right job. I mean, this is really beautiful. It's important for other people to hear what others are doing. And we are all evolving in a different way spiritually. And there's no right way to do it. Everybody is here with a unique mission, a unique way of expressing themselves. So the more you listen to different people, the more you realize, hey, I came here with a message too. And I came here with a mission, and it just helps open you up. So yeah, continue what you're doing. I think it's great.
And how can people connect with you?
Well, the way people connect with me is through my website, albaweinman.com. And if they want a hypnosis session with me, it's done via a mailing list. People sign up for my newsletter. It comes out once a month. I have very limited sessions each month. So I send out to everyone in the world my newsletter with the appointments available. And if they're divinely guided, they will press that button and see a session there, and they'll book it. So my whole thing is all divinely guided. When people are meant to connect with me and have a session, they will get the session. I have had people from your country sign up and do sessions. So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Is it a monthly newsletter?
It's a monthly newsletter. I do sessions in person here in North Central Florida for those who are nearby, and I have Zoom sessions for those who are anywhere in the world. So it makes it easy. It makes it easy. There's no difference between being in person and online. So that's how you get a hold of me, through my website.
We'll give all the links of your YouTube channel, of your website, and the socials in the description.
Yes. Perfect.
It's been absolutely a pleasure having you here, Alba. Thank you so much. I look forward to hosting you again in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure talking to you too. You're a beautiful soul. You could feel it radiating, and I loved it. So I hope you continue and are able to do more with it.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me
Very
here.
kind of you.
Thank you for watching and listening in wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we all are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and our guests. And if you resonate with me, do subscribe to my channel and do let us know how you find our episodes. Thank you so much. Lots of love.